Bamm Ericsen here with AFTERBUZZ TV for Power. After Show, Season 4, Episode 7. You lied to my face, homie. What up? Let's go. Drop it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
There you go.
Unity.
Hey, yes.
Hey. Oh, party.
Togetherness.
Yes.
It's always a party for the Power After Show. Come on.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up, everybody? I am Bamm Ericsen, and you can find me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen.
Jimmy V, Twitter and Instagram at Be Your Own Dad.
Jill Munroe at Stiletto Jill. Had to get mine off real quick.
Right. And you can find me at all of my social media platforms at Robin Ayers. We've got some special guests, plural, in the building with us today. So excited to have one of the Power producers here, Shana Stein, as well as you guys know him as Crystal Ball, but his name is Matt Cedeno. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
I
having
have
us.
a lot to discuss with you guys.
We have a lot to discuss about. So let's talk about the St. Patrick family. So Tariq and Ghost enters the house. Tasha is pissed. She says to Tariq, "Don't you dare lie to us." Tariq snaps back saying, "You lied to my face about Sean." Ghost says Kanan kidnapped Tariq. Apparently, this ain't the first time. Ghost and Tasha then go into the closet where they have this knock down, drag out argument. Open discussion. Go.
Bam, you're so funny with that. He's so dramatic.
Theatrics.
Yes.
But you know, it's something that I noticed is that we have not really seen Tasha
This pissed?
Yes.
pissed about Tariq being gone. I mean, I don't know if it's this newfound, like, you know, your dad's home. I don't know what it was, but I was like, how come you're this upset and we haven't seen you this upset before?
I think she was upset because Ghost just got out of jail. They clearly spent a night, and Ghost just got out of jail, so she's probably wondering, okay, I haven't heard from either my husband and my son for probably 17, 12, 6, 8 hours, whatever it is.
Right.
She has a right to be pissed at that point.
She's got the right. Listen, as a mom, she's got the right. I'm just saying, we do notice that she really got more pissed than what she's been before, right? That's all I noticed.
Yeah.
Well, she got pretty mad, I will say, in the first episode when he first got back from being kidnapped the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
And he shut her down by saying, "Where's Dad?"
Yeah.
Right? He totally there her off the trail. She was like, "Boy, you were in so much trouble." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Where's Dad?" And he knew where Dad was. He's been manipulating it from the beginning. And yeah, you're right. Ghost is just out. And this is her first chance to really let loose on him because she's been having to hold it together for everyone. And she's been holding it down.
Okay,
So.
Shanna coming up in here
Okay.
dropping knowledge.
Right.
Yes,
Giving us insight into Tasha's mindset.
Yes.
We didn't even get the Tasha
Yeah.
moment where she turned her back to the camera to gather herself,
Right,
right?
right.
She
That's
came all the way with
Speaking
it.
of speaking her mind, so so there were many things that went on in this closet conversation. So she apologized, saying, "I didn't have enough time to tell you that Tariq was kidnapped."
Yeah.
I give her a pass. I do. I agree. She didn't have time to tell. There's a lot that's been going on. You
And
know?
Proctor also told her, "You can't
We
tell him.
don't,
Yeah.
right.
You can't distract him."
He's got a whole lot going on. That's right, yeah.
Then he says, "You only had one job."
Yeah, that made me mad. That made me mad. I was
Why,
like,
why did it make you mad?
because you had one job, and then what he meant, as I took it, was that you had one job just to kind of hold it down, hold the household, hold the family down, and all of that. And how disrespectful, because she had so many things on her plate. She had to worry about Angie coming to visit her, trying to, manipulate her into testifying or giving up information. She had Keisha, Tommy, who he told her to look after. Or remember, she said Ghost wanted Tommy to stay here. So she had more than just one job. So that kind of made me mad.
Now, I will agree. Tasha was right in regards to what you mean I only had one job. I basically held it down and I had to play this pretend wife. So she gets a point. She won that argument. But then once she started to continue to vent her feelings, and then she said, "Let's talk about the real reason that you're in jail." And then Ghost says, "The reason I'm in jail was because I was trying to protect Tommy." And then she says, "No, you're in jail because something about..."
You dipped
You dipped your dip.
You
your
dipped
dick.
your dip in that fed
your-
bitch.
In the fed
I
bitch.
think might be a
Yeah.
direct quote.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
Very eloquently put.
That sounds about right.
Like that, just chime in. Yeah.
It's a chain of events,
Yeah.
cause and reaction.
But let's keep it real. When she started to vent and do her full frustration, then she started to obviously go back to the whole Angela situation. And again, she later on admitted that she did have some blame for this. So I felt like they were both right and wrong in certain parts of this argument.
And I think that's the job that Power does well. The writers actually do a very good job at making you feel like, okay, they both have a right. You know what I mean? Both are right.
valid
I
point.
think,
A valid
yeah,
point, yeah.
Those are marriage
Courtney would
dynamics.
love to hear that because that's what one of the things she always says. In every scene, in every argument, both characters are right.
That's what makes great writing and character development in the first place.
Yeah.
Both have to be fighting for something that they truly believe in, and everything is so subjective, anyways. Depending on your perspective and your point of view, they're both right. It depends on what's important to each individual, but they're both
Yeah.
equally fighting for something they believe in.
I agree with that. That's good. Before we continue, I have to ask this. If we can take our Power hats off very quickly, and you just watching as a viewer, do you often get tied up into the character that says like, no, that's right or that's wrong? Do you feel that way?
Oh my gosh, it doesn't even have to get to the cuts for me. I get excited at the outline phase. Like, I'm such a fan of the show.
Right.
I'll be up to Courtney like, oh my God, no, you did it! Thank you. You know, and she'll like pitch some ideas about like, I think he's got to die. And I'm like, duh.
Now,
You know,
Good. So you feel us, Shanna.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I definitely feel you. I
Okay.
actually,
Oh, yeah.
I had to do some catching up this week with the episodes. And we just showed a video before we were on air of that fan that was like, "Oh, holy ow!" I read the script, I knew it came, and we had, JR and I had conversations about him exiting the show and whatnot. But I just saw the episode, and I was crying. I was like, "Oh,
Powerful,
holy ow!"
right?
Yeah.
And it was like, I was so
yeah.
It was
well
devastating,
written,
right?
well
Yes.
written. It
Yes.
was a great way for him to go out, and I was completely invested in
Yeah,
that. It was-
definitely.
Shana, are you involved any way in the writing process?
No, I'm not. I'm a non-writing producer on the show. I am involved on the creative aspects, and I'm so lucky because I do get to be around and involved from the outline phase forward. So when they start pitching ideas, and they are very generous, and I get to sit in the writer's room. And sure, I weigh in, but as I said, I'm so much a fan. I'll be like, "Oh, I love that. That's great."
Yeah.
Or no, you can't do that. So I think they can bounce off of me, as I said, as a fan would react more than
Nice.
from the other side. And then, but being involved through all of those phases, it's great because then when casting comes along, I know you guys had Gary Lennon in here, and he's also an executive producer on the show, right along with Courtney. And when so when casting comes along, it's like knowing all of those things and watching the characters come to life from when they were pitched, and then when the different actors come in and stuff. So I'm very fortunate, as is Bart Winrick. We get to be involved all the way through the process.
Very nice.
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 Exciting, yeah.
So Tasha says to Ghost, Kanan wouldn't have been a problem had you killed him 10 years ago, like I told you.
And Raina heard her.
Raina overhears this
Wow.
conversation, and so now Tasha and Raina have a conversation later, where she's clearly has stepped up her anger. She cursed at her mom, and she's now wanting to ask questions. She's
Teenage
tired of,
angst.
Yeah, she's
Yes.
tired of being the child who's always left out.
Always in the
Tariq-
dark.
And and again, Tariq and Raina, they are twins, so they're the same age. So she feels she should be privy to everything that Tariq knows or thinks he knows. So Tasha says to her, "You have to tell me if Tariq sneaks out." So we already know that Raina likes to snoop and she wants to be in the mix. She's dead.
He thinks that Raina's gonna die this season.
Well,
We've
let
had
me-
this discussion
Why?
on one
Because
of the
she-
children.
She's
Yeah.
snooping.
Bam thinks everybody's
I
going
do
to
think
die.
everybody's gonna die at some point, except for one.
You know what?
or two
If
think
people.
you're
you
gonna be
say,
right
I was like,
sometimes, right?
if
You
you
say
say
everybody's-
everybody's going to die, eventually you will be right.
Yeah.
Because it's power.
Yeah.
And people do die.
Yeah, but so Tasha didn't exactly tell her everything, but she told him enough. She told Raina enough information to make her happy. But I think the point of that conversation was she says, "I need you to now tell me what's going on with Tariq." She's already sneaking around. She's snooping through his things.
Right.
I smell I smell something bigger that's gonna happen.
You think she's gonna follow him into some trouble and get caught up in the mix, crossfire,
or something? But what do you guys just think about the Raina and her wanting to know more, and now she's going to?
I mean,
start...
we've seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen her getting more and more curious and a little bit more nosy, you know. But as she should, everything in her life is changing. You know, her dad was in prison. Her mom is kind of like trying to hold things down. I'm sure it's not the Tasha that we saw in season 1, episode 1. We're not seeing that same Tasha, and I'm sure she's not feeling that same way about her mom. And then Tariq is just buck wild now, so it's like everything is changing. You got to find out some information. I mean, which we saw her trying to do something about it. I liked that. I liked that she tried to take that into her own hands and say, let me just go to Tariq. He's
As
my
an audience
twin.
too, I like how we saw Tariq grow so much. I think it's time that we also see Raina too.
That's true. A good balance, yeah.
Yeah, they're both getting older. They're growing. They're becoming of age, and they see a lot of stuff around them.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. So
Raina won't see as much as Tariq.
Okay.
she's gone. I think she's dead. But now let's talk Tariq. So now Tariq, he's hooked on the lean. He overhears Tommy
Getting
and Ghost.
faded off of 2 sips.
He overhears Tommy and Ghost in the car. When he rolled the window down, he questions Dre. He asks Tommy if he knew Dad put Kanan in jail and asks if he was involved. Was his mom? Did he kill anyone? So my question to you, should they just tell something? Should they stop lying? Because Tariq is finding things out. And if they don't tell this boy something, then what is going to happen? So no, don't tell
I
him?
feel he's on a need-to-know basis. I think that they are slowly letting him into the parts that they have no choice to. But does he need to know, yeah, we gunned down 15 people, we ran the hottest, whatever. I don't think he's ready for all of that. Because you don't know what side he's on.
Correct, but they don't have to say, okay, we killed this person, killed this person, killed this person. But they need to at least be honest and say, hey, you know what? We've done some things in the past that we're not proud of.
You never been around drug dealers?
Yes, I have.
They don't, so they're not going to tell you, even as family, are they going to give, they can't. They're not going to give you that stuff. Just, there's some bad people. We are involved in some bad things. Just knowing that the things that are in that area are bad.
And that's
he's a young child still.
And I think that's exactly why Tariq needs to know, so he knows who to stay away from, just like Tasha was trying to address, but unfortunately he's still up in the air pretty much.
Do we chime in as
Yes.
Oh, please.
Yes.
Ask whatever you
Whatever you feel.
Yeah, I mean, not me being removed from the show after seeing it, in his evolution and where he is today and what little man Tariq has gone through. I think at this stage you've got to level with him to a certain extent, because he just saw what's her name? Jukebox get blown away. Like he's seeing the real deal in front of him. He's been kidnapped. He's been knocked out. He
deserves it.
And
he's hooked on drugs.
And he seems somewhat unfazed by it.
Well, I think that it's a big failure on Ghost's part to become James St. Patrick, right? Because as they say, everything they did for these kids, right? They tried to get out of the life. He came, he moved to Manhattan. He tried to open the nightclub. He wanted to protect the kids. And as you said, his son just got kidnapped. Knocked out, almost killed, and then witnessed a murder right in front of him to defend his life. So the kid's just gone through some pretty traumatic stuff due to the failure of his father to protect them and get them out of the life. And then he fails yet again because he has the opportunity to come clean and, tell his son the truth. And instead he continues to keep lying. Yeah. He chooses to keep lying. And so now he's lost his son's trust yet again,
Yeah, something that stuck out to me was when Tommy had the conversation with Tariq, and Tariq said, I don't know who is good or bad anymore. These are telltale signs. I mean, he's saying to them, to everyone who's asking, say something to me, you know. But it's challenging. I mean, I'm sure as a parent, you want to hide some things, and I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm just saying I'm sure it's challenging. So I think they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, but I do agree that he deserves something after everything that he's seen and been through. So I agree with that. Absolutely.
Particularly after he's hanging out with Kanan, when Ghost and Kanan had their differences, and you know that he's been spending a lot of time with Kanan. The things that he must have filled his head with, he's in the know.
Yeah.
So you've got to correct him
Yeah.
as a father. That would be my advice to Mr. St. Patrick.
Yeah.
It's actually my kid's birthday today, so I'm going to give him a little
Happy
There you
birthday.
go.
birthday, Jackson.
Oh, happy birthday,
But yeah,
Jackson.
you got to level with the guy at this point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree.
he's just in denial that he thinks like, oh, I'm just going to continue protecting
Protect him.
Too
and-
late.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way too late, and I think that there was some things that Tasha did that she was not able to control, and then I feel that there were some things she could have controlled. Like once Tariq was kidnapped, she should have went and found out who these people that he was hanging with, and I felt like she was a little too
Distracted.
yeah.
That, and then a little bit naive, because
That's-
there
yeah.
was something telling her. She said, remember, she tried to bring up Kanan a couple of
Yeah,
times. And so it's like something in you is telling you to go, push a little bit more, find out more, but she just kind of let it go. And then all of a sudden she gets the revelation when Ghost told her, or
Yeah.
was it Ghost who told her
Yeah.
that, was it
It-
Ghost
yeah,
when she
it
said, so it was,
the hand
yeah.
and the-
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so she said, so it was, Kanan that whole time. And it's like, yeah, you knew that deep down inside, but she just didn't press enough.
let's move forward to now the family interview, the primetime interview with Olivia Barham. So she clearly had an ulterior motive. She had Ghost had to correct her about the charges being dropped and that there was evidence to prove his innocence. So she switched topics real quick, and then she questioned Tasha about not wearing her wedding ring, and she lies and says that she sold it to pay bail and attorney fees. She forgave him, and she is willing to start over, and she took part blame about damn time. That she acknowledged that she was part to blame because she didn't follow his dreams.
She didn't believe in his dreams.
Yeah, that's been a big thing for Bamm.
Yeah, I blame Tasha for this whole ordeal.
I know.
do?
I
I do.
know. It's interesting because at the beginning of the show, again, as a fan, I was completely Team Angela in the first season. I know.
What?
Your faces. Well, because
was
she
I.
represented the new life, the new chance, and purity,
exactly
and
it.
what was
Yes.
good and where his life could have gone at 1st. She didn't even know he was married, right? So you got to remember when she first started off this, she started off as an innocent. It's like, there's the love of my life in the club, and she
I
didn't
rooted
know
for that,
anything.
too.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
you have that, and then
I
you
was
have
there, too.
Tasha being like the biggest goddamn drug dealer in New York City, and I like it. Right? She was like, she didn't want anything to change, and so you're right. She finally is owning that now. Now, of course, Angela, we've seen that she's made choices that are no longer, and that's one of the things I do as a fan love about the show. So I started off being like, oh, he's gonna get a new life and a chance, and no. And then Angela went terrible. And then I went back to being for Tasha because I was like, this woman just wants to hold her family together. She's doing the best job she can as a mom. She's doing everything. And then, more decisions are made, which we'll talk about later.
Right. Yes.
Fridge.
Right? So I was like, I do love that when you're rooting for somebody and then, you get so mad at them.
It's great writing. It's great writing.
It is.
It's
It's
really
fun.
is.
It's
It's
just fun writing.
justified.
So what's your guys' take on the primetime special interview?
My number one problem was Tasha looking at Silver and getting like approval almost. I mean, on one hand, it felt like that's the attorney. Let me see what he's saying, if this is okay to speak on. But I feel like she wasn't doing it for that. It
No.
was almost like, let me look at my man and get permission or whatever. And I was like, see, I got this problem with Silver, right? I have this real issue with Silver. Just we can battle back and forth, whatever. But and the funny thing is, I like the guy. Like, I like the real, I forget his name. Brandon, I actually really like you. But Silver, I have a problem with it. And I just have a problem with the fact that Tasha was looking at him for approval in that interview.
Well, she actually, when she's looking at him because she feels a little bit stunned and he goes like this, he points to himself.
Right.
And so she's like, oh, right, I sold it to pay for you. He's like, you had to pay for me,
Yes.
like that. Like, so he kind
Kind
of
of
like
like a
tips her
hint.
the idea
Yeah.
more than, I think it's a little that more than approval.
Okay,
But
and I
it's
got
kinda
that
like,
one.
He does that. She's like, and she's a G. So
Totally.
she just like
Right, see,
smoothly
she is a
says
G.
it. Right?
So no, I got that one, and so on part of it, yes, I thought that she was looking at him as an attorney, but she often looked at him. Often she would glance at him,
Oh,
even whether he would
yeah.
say
I
anything
know,
or
I
not.
know, I know,
Yeah,
I
and
know,
then she
yeah.
would just continue to answer her, whatever it is that she felt. So
Now she wants a good guy, a
Yeah.
straight and narrow guy.
Yeah.
Tasha
What if
don't
I
know
never
what she
met
wants.
Ghost?
She doesn't
So
know what she wants.
let's go into this.
Yes.
I'm ready to drag her from Oracle Arena to
Please, please, all around.
So-
drag session.
So she likes this dude Silver, right? And so she said to him something of the fact that you know, what if I never met James and met you first, bitch? You like good dudes. You like good dudes.
Yes.
You like good dudes. So now all of a sudden you like squares. You like
switching
educated
up.
men. But you had a problem when your dude
Wanted to go to the good side.
and now you like this bum?
Jail has a way of affecting you like that, almost losing
No.
your
It
freedom
does?
and your
No.
that's what I would think, maybe.
I'm starting to think that Tasha's a hoe.
Well, she's Ghost. Tasha, this is what her
Sean,
third.
We can count.
Is this
Ghost
where you go?
has only had one outside of her, so 3-1.
And let's
but
also
that doesn't mean that she's a hoe. She's just claiming her womanhood.
Thought alert.
She's promiscuous.
Thought alert.
Yeah, thought alert.
Thought alert.
She knows
Thought
the
alert.
lingo. Yeah.
Thought alert. Shanna said
knows.
thought alert. Oh, that is really hilarious.
No,
I wouldn't
that's
call
what we
her
were.
a-
No, that's what we said. The fans are gonna be like, ooh, thought alert.
And that's what the fans have been saying, actually. The word on the street is
Yeah,
that
I get that she's tired of this fake relationship, but you remember when you went to jail, you told them we are a team and you need to start acting like it. So therefore, you can't be going out and doing karaoke, singing Whitney Houston's "I Have Nothing." She sound great though.
No, Bam.
No,
No, I
you
don't
can't-
agree
Shout
with
out
that.
to
You can't
3LW.
do
Oh,
that.
it's two.
She did
Reminds me,
sound great.
did
I
that
mean,
sound-
I was so happy. It was an opportunity for
For the same.
notoriety to get to
For the second time, I think. is
Yeah,
it?
she sang
not
in the
since-
club
not
one
since
time.
season 1, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was great for
That
her
was
to,
great.
to get to share her voice, and we actually had a much longer version of it, but because like a lot of our episodes we were
Yeah.
running long,
Yeah,
you know, we had to
cut it
just
short.
kind of get it down to the highlights,
Yeah.
and she was terrific. I don't listen, you know, I think it's the same thing the way James St. Patrick was also like, you know, when Ghost was trying to be James St. Patrick, like for her too, when she sees this, it's a fantasy of like, what could my life have been if we weren't in this? And her son did just get kidnapped, right? And he just came back, and she's having all of these reactions where it's like, she's trying to make the best life for herself and her family and her kids. And you see a nice, good guy. I'm not saying it's real, you know. That's we've all
Snake in the grass.
yeah, but you know, from her perspective, right? Like she is right that this is a good person to partner with. If any of our girlfriends were dating this guy, you'd be like, oh, nice man. Yeah, good job. All right.
And she's still feeling vulnerable that James left her for Angie.
Yeah, and not only that, but she was.
But let's go
Uh,
back.
Here we go.
She was while Ghost was messing with Angie or about to mess with Angie, she was already on the verge of giving Sean some, because the first episode in the back of the limousine, she
Passion.
was
Passion.
We seen him
Okay,
again.
but listen, let me make my point really
Okay.
fast. The point was that she was really into Ghost and she liked that hood life because it was going well.
okay.
Key. That's a key. It was
Okay.
going well. Her life was great with this gangster, or not gangster, this drug dealing, you know, man of hers, husband of hers. But now that things are falling apart, maybe she is like, okay, I don't necessarily want this life because everything is kind of going downward. So maybe she does want,
Robin,
you know.
you got a point there.
But she is still
Right.
she's still selling drugs with Tommy at the weave shop, and she has $2.5 million that we don't know where the money went to.
I'm talking about a man.
That's
Oh.
her just in case money. We know where that money is, somewhere just in
Yeah,
case.
I think she's, you know, as Ghost has done, she's keeping her options open. You know what I mean? It's human nature. After you've been through what she's been through, her man's in jail, he's not ever really loyal to her. And then here comes a situation where, you know, maybe there's some chemistry between them, and oh, this is a different side, and I've been through that, and she, you know, she's a wounded bird at this point.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, this
let me just see where this may go. I'll develop it. If
Right.
I need to execute on it, I will. But you know, you got to keep your options open.
I'm
She's
not
doing
mad
this
at her
thing,
getting
you know.
some.
I'm not
mad at
either.
that.
I'm not
just mad that
either.
it's silver.
Do you guys trust?
Justified.
Do you guys trust
Hate it.
Silver the fact?
No.
But do you trust him the fact that he was James's lawyer? And so then what lost me for him is when he says I can't represent James anymore, and she was like, well, I need you to do it for me, and he's like, okay, well, I'll do it for you. What the?
sucker.
When it felt like actually that whole thing feels like we've missed an episode or something. Like they've been hanging out. They've
went
been
pretty
getting
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it
did
was
go
like
pretty
from
quick.
0 to 100. Like all of a sudden they're in love or something is what it felt like. But I do understand that we've had to rush our episodes.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying what it felt like.
Speaking of thoughtism, let's go into.
Thoughtism.
Love the transition.
Let's
Love it.
talk about Olivia, because Olivia seems like she's thoughting after James. I mean, she already knows that he's married. She detects that there's problems when James and Tasha's relationship. He just got out of jail and he was cheating on Tasha with Angie, and you still want to get with this dude?
Yeah. Do you
sure
not
does.
read blogs?
He got the
Do you
juice.
not see like power,
Ghost is
money,
ghost.
and an attractive
Right.
man?
I'm just saying,
He
ghost
could be
is
different
ghost.
with me.
She'll justify. He
might
learned
be
from all
passive.
that.
Yes.
I'll give him something that he hasn't had
Right.
before, so it's gonna be
Right.
all good.
How you meet him is
there
how
you
you
go.
treat.
Learn
How you
from
meet
all
him
that.
is how he believe you.
Okay.
That's right.
So, what's your take on
I have
Olivia?
nothing more to discuss about her.
All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Stern. So, do you think by Stern being a silent partner, how much can he control James? Because
Clearly not much,
Clearly
because
not
James
much,
checked him. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I like to see that kind of ghost. I like to see that bossy, especially against Stern, because Stern was just trying too much.
Always
He's like,
2 steps ahead, Ghost. Yeah.
yeah.
But so now we have Councilman Rashid Tate played by Lorenz Tate, and so clearly the two of them have a bond, and they want to do some real estate work in Queens, where they're both from, while Stern and his people want James to do Manhattan. So I smell
Revenge.
I
type?
smell
I
something.
smell a
yeah.
A
history.
battle,
Yeah, a battle.
Yeah.
a problem over land and location and
Something.
city funds and
Yeah.
whatever grants he's up
No,
for.
on Power, everything's gonna go smooth. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna get
Right,
all
yeah.
fine.
I'm not doing any spoilers. I'm just listening to your theories.
Right, right. Like, you sure, Shanna?
Okay, so now let's go to Julio and to everyone else. So, what are your thoughts on Tariq lying about Dre not knowing Kanan was alive? And then, do you think Tommy believes him, or is he watching him, trying to figure out before he kills him? What do you think?
I think Tariq is a baby ghost, and he is applying things that he's learned or seen from his father. I think is literally, and I thought it was so ironic
Is that his father? Is Kanan?
Okay, I
mean,
saw somebody bring
is
up the
Kanan-
whole
Oh, yeah.
I do
the whole
kind-
theory of
and I do
being
wonder that because he killed Sean,
Their
and he
father.
has a huge attachment, and because Tasha I think is
Thottin'
what,
and boppin'.
she's starting and bopping. I wouldn't be surprised if in fact she did get with Ghost, which is why she
Oh.
said
No,
to
you mean
kill him.
Kanan?
Kanan, which is why she said you need to kill him 10 years ago. I'm just saying.
I
That
don't
was some of
know.
the theories that were thrown at us also on Twitter. And
There
yeah.
are a lot of power theories out
50
there.
has 50 reposted something to kind of keep that rumor going.
He loves starting
funny.
mess.
Yeah.
He would, right? He
He
loves
would.
getting people
So
talking.
continue. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I thought it was ironic that the one who everyone is saying is sort of being raised up to be Ghost, which is Dre. Dre and Tariq being in the car together, and they're both playing like ghost-isms with each other. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, to me, I just thought that piece was ironic.
I want Dre to die.
Dre made me mad. Let's go back
When
to
he
when they
stood over
discovered
Khalil's body.
that one move
and
made me so mad.
That was my next question. Do you guys think Dre played his hand too quickly by asking to be the distro while standing over Julio's dead body?
Yeah.
Very quickly.
I mean, I think
fast.
that, he's like, time is of the essence, and he's been waiting for it, and he knows it's vulnerable right now with Ghost out. It's chaos. Tommy's obviously distracted, so he's trying to, strike the head and make his moves. However, I want Dre to die. Not that I want you to be out of the job.
I know.
not gonna
I
happen.
love
But-
Rotimi.
Oh, yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Rotimi,
Yeah.
but I'm hating Dre right now.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
But look. We're getting
Oh,
emotionally.
that's
he's
his
so
buddy.
smooth.
That's his.
Look,
Yeah,
look, look.
that's your man's.
Of
Yeah.
course, Cristobal
Well,
and Dre are.
Stirring the pot.
Look,
Right,
let's forget
right.
about dying and death and all that. It's a business. Right? It's a business. They got a brand, and
it's
there
gotta
was an
keep on
opportunity
running.
because there was a position that was open and it had to be filled. So, I mean, but maybe he could have waited until after the memorial or the funeral or something like that. But I think he strikes
While he's
when the
over the
opportunity
dead.
is hot.
Well,
the memorial.
I don't even have a problem with the fact that he mentioned it so soon. I had a problem with that when he was kneeling over him and he said, "I win." Like, it was like too much.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Got it.
And speaking of Crystal Ball, so now Crystal Ball is in the mix because he was doing he was asking for more drugs than some of the other drug dealers or whatever you want to call it. So now there's this alliance between distributors. Thank you. So now there's this alliance between Crystal Ball and Dre, and I do wonder when is the shit gonna hit the fan, because I don't feel like either can trust each other. And so with that being said, What's your take on that?
Wait, why can't you trust Cristobal?
What's wrong with Cristobal? Dog?
What's
You
yeah?
guys are drug.
What's wrong with Cristobal?
You
As
guys
he
are-
said, it's a business. He's just
It's a
you know,
business,
he's
and we're on the
just-
same playground together.
My
Well, the reason that I don't feel that you can trust anybody is because even going with Tommy and this whole New Deal thing, Tommy, it's a business, but Tommy broke down why he should be able to get what he gets back. But the Jimenez are clearly they don't want that, and I feel like drug dealers never hold true to their word. Everything is always about them.
Subjective to change.
Yes.
I don't think there's ever really any true teamwork. I mean, you can trust
Never.
people for a while you're aligned, while there's a certain symbiotic relationship between the two, but ultimately everybody's kind of out for themselves,
That's right.
and they got to do what it takes to get to the top. So I don't know how long that lasts. It's just a dangerous playground, but you know,
I see something here.
I
I see
do
something.
think
I
that
don't
there
know.
was a I think what it was, because there's only 10 episodes, there's got to be a lot of backstory that's kind of
Yeah.
created, and things are accelerated in certain spots. But I do think that there was a recognition between Cristobal and Dre, and that there was a common vision together, and they both appreciate and recognize the skill set that each one has and how they could perhaps align to, you know,
Build the empire.
maybe do some things. You know, it's in the very early stages, but that's kind of the recognition, the flicker, and that's why they've been seen together.
You know, I'm seeing a lot of teams like forming now. We got Dre and Cristobal over here. We got
Did I tip my
Tommy
hat to
over
it? That
here.
was-
We got Ghost
You
kind
know,
of.
that was
I'm
what
picking
you
up
guys have seen.
what you're putting down. Okay.
Yeah,
I
Teamwork
that's just-
makes the dream work.
look. That's just kind of my own backstory that I created. Whether
Gotcha.
anything, you know, comes to fruition with that, but you know, that's how we
good.
justify our meetings, because we're on camera, and I'm from Taínos and he's from somewhere else.
Right.
And we're meeting together, and it has to be justified in some way. And so I just think that there was a little bit of recognition in each other and appreciation and feeling each other out. You know.
Yeah.
Honor among thieves.
As I sit here trying to
Honor
read
among
faces.
thieves.
Well, that's it. Dre and, you know, we were just going over Dre's whole story again the other day, which, you know, you forget sometimes. It's like, great, Dre met Kanan in jail, right? And it's like, oh, right, he was, like, you know, Kanan, like, saved Dre in jail or something. You know what I mean? Like, they have a thing, so they go way back, and he owes Kanan from that. And yet, he's just come out, and there is no loyalty there. He's always just constantly looking out for himself, and I hope one of the fans will put together a compilation reel of Dre going, I ain't lying, like right as he doesn't. He's like, I'm being real with you, and he if he is saying that, he's lying. Like he does it
Yes.
so
I
many
got
times.
you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
And
And I was like, he lies to
Everybody.
everyone and looks him straight. Well,
Like
you know,
Tariq now.
he's like innocent and you know.
But
He's smooth, though.
I think Tommy.
Yeah.
I think Tommy knows when Tommy asked about when he had the gun to him and he asked about knowing if Kanan was alive, and then he asked, "Did Drake?" He said something like, "Well, did Tariq say? Did Tariq say I did?" Like it's those.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy is, you know, although he's like a dead man walking, he's very smart and he's very street smart, and so he knows and he listens to things, and a lot of times he may not respond.
Right.
But he'll take note
Storing
of it.
it.
but-
It's in the
but he's
file
storing-
for later
and-
use.
Right, like in
yeah.
that first episode when Dre says, and Dre thinks he's like been so convincing, and he gets in the elevator, and you see Tommy looking at the elevator after
He's
him,
like,
like,
right.
Yeah. And the sad part is, I think myself and maybe many others really liked, especially before, the character of Dre, because it was like he's trying to change his life. He's, you know, going on with his thing, trying to get
Be
better.
a father to his daughter.
Father to his daughter.
Right.
Which we haven't heard
And then-
much about.
They mentioned that
Thus
very
this
recently.
season.
No, Kanan threatened his daughter
Yeah.
recently.
Last
when he
season.
He did.
No,
What-
recently this
recently,
season.
Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
episodes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is that I'm just interested to see where this character of Dre is going to go, because he was so one way at first, it seemed like, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh,
so he had you fooled too, then.
yeah, yeah, I think
That's the
so.
thing. He fools everybody that he's so earnest and sincere.
Yeah.
Well, then speaking of that, so going back to this new deal that Tommy wants with Diego and Alicia, so he wants the old territory back. He wants 6 new Toro Locos corners. He wants access to the port connections in California, where I think a spinoff is coming.
Expansion.
Hope
Fantastic.
so. That sounds
Bring it
amazing.
to LA.
And then, so the siblings, the Jimenez siblings, you know, now have to decide if they're going to take this deal. So I wonder, are they going to take the deal? Or are they going to are they going to try and kill Tommy? Are they going to use Dre?
They have to take the deal for the spinoff.
Y'all got this spinoff thing really going.
So, but Dre was there, and Dre also heard that Tommy killed Lobos, and I felt like just that shot of him, he's gonna use and take that information. So is he gonna take that information and use to part and move up to the Jimenez?
Are you talking about Dre?
Dre,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Dre.
Got
I
it.
feel like Dre took that information and he's gonna use it, and he's gonna take it for something that deals with him.
Possibly. I don't know the answer to that, but I know now, as a fan of Power, what they do, they put the shot on somebody's face, and it's like a foreshadowing to something that's going to happen later. So they did. I saw that face that Dre made, and I was like, okay, something is there. So
Okay, so let's go to Ghost, Tommy, Proctor, and Teresi. So we saw a lot of scenes with Tommy and Ghost, and I think we all agree that we love the banter and everything that was.
yes,
Yeah.
super quickly.
Yeah.
Did anybody else think, just for a second, this is a side note, that when Tariq was on his lean, that he was that scene between him and Raina when he pushed her down, did anybody think that he was going to kill her at that moment, like accidentally?
It got very dark for a second.
It was just, I was like, I literally said, I was like, no, like to my team, I was like, no, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was like, no. So I was glad that it went the way that it did. The other thing that I wanted to mention, did anybody think that that when Ghost sat down when Tariq was playing the video games, that he was going to reach around and take a sip of his soda and find out that it was lean? You didn't see? Okay,
no,
that's just me in my mind. All right.
And speaking of the whole lean thing, I like that they actually put that in the series because with this upcoming next generation, lean pills,
Percocet,
Xannies, Percocet, that's like the cool new thing now. So I think putting that on the big screen might actually
Bring some attention
bring up
to
some
it. Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, maybe.
And they're snorting things as well.
Yeah,
It's
a
just so
shame.
much. Ghost confronts Tommy. So with the whole Proctor thing, so Proctor tells James that Tommy killed Bailey, and so Ghost confronts Tommy about it. And he had obviously the takeover spirit, and Tommy didn't like that. So I love the banter of that. But in that conversation, he says that James Proctor is not their lawyer anymore, and so that he's accomplice. If the body shows up, it traces back to the both of them. He says, you fucked up by killing the agent, and I fucked up by killing Marshall. So here we are yet again needing each other to set some shit straight. So being that Proctor said Tommy is the real threat, do you think he really took care of the body? Did he destroy the tape? You know, what's your take on Proctor and Ghost having this non-trust for Proctor with this information?
I want to know
Bailey?
when Proctor got gangster people, like that can dispose
that
of
can-
bodies and
He
so
did
forth.
get a
And that
little hood
everybody's-
this season.
You know, I know his
He's
ex
always
had,
been known as
He had a past.
yeah, he has a
Yeah.
Yeah,
past.
but I thought it was about his
And
ex
his-
having a, little pill problem and that type of thing. Not I'm disposing of bodies and, hiding evidence. I felt like that was a bit much for him. So I'm concerned because he's definitely a loose end. I'm concerned for his safety or what he's going to do with the information.
Well, so you think that he hasn't destroyed all the information? You think he's using it as a leverage?
Possibly because I think that we may be underestimating Proctor. I think that he may have some things that we just haven't seen yet. As a matter of fact, I thought that I was excited. Remember when he got removed from the case? I was like, good, now he can add whatever. But we haven't seen that was only a couple episodes now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe two,
so we haven't seen that much of Proctor, but I don't know. I feel like something is up and he's going to protect himself. But I did like the scene where Mock came to Proctor and then James is in the background. Like that one, he said, you're either going to end up dead or you're going to talk to me, whichever one is going to happen first. And so how Ghost kind of appears makes you think that maybe he's going to go handle his business and take care of Proctor. I don't know. But my hope is that that Proctor shows us something and that he can kind of get out, because that's another storyline. I like storylines and like twists and turns like that.
I do agree that that Proctor didn't read all the evidence because Tommy's been a jerk to him. And why would you be a jerk to someone who's the only person who can protect you legally? So I think he's using it, like he said. Tommy is the real threat. So I think he's holding on to something. So Ghost gives the cell phone to Tommy and says, "You need to call Teresi." Open discussion.
I love that storyline, actually.
I don't.
Why? I like seeing it develop. I think we need to see more about Tommy's backstory. We started with the when he was in Chicago and the revealing about his bouncer episodes. I think that it'll kind of give more insight into.
I did like that, and I also took from that with Tommy's first job being a bouncer at the club. I think Tommy's mom was a stripper at the club, and that's how she got the job, and that's probably how she met Teresi.
Yeah.
Or, well, I mean, clearly my
it
theory.
sounded like it. He was talking about her legs, and he liked redheads.
Yeah.
So.
And so my theory's wrong. I always thought that Mrs. Egan messed with Tommy's dad because his dad was a club owner, and so I thought they had
Ghost dad.
Ghost dad.
Ghost's dad. Excuse me. But anyway, so it's revealed.
Wait,
But they were half brothers.
You thought
Yeah,
I thought
Tommy's mom messed around with Ghost's dad.
Yes, because Ghost's dad was a club owner, and we know that Mrs. Egan's a fast hot ass, and so now the fact that Tommy was a bouncer at the club, I think she was a stripper, and then I think she was a club girl twerking back in the day, and she met Ghost's dad, and they got together, and she got pregnant while she was with Teresi. But that theory's off. So Teresi is a dad, but there's more. What do you got? There's more to the story.
We don't know. His mom obviously must have been up to some type of hijinks and tricks. We don't know.
So can you tell us
Stay
something?
tuned. More will be revealed.
Okay, so I was wondering because Joe did a really he's got some of the best scenes as far as like facially and just moments in the show. But that whole car scene was really great. And I thought, who is he more mad at right now? Is he mad at his mom because she told him or he thought that his dad was dead? And like all this time he's been alive, like was he mad at his mom? Or was he in protection of his mom? Of course, when he said, "How the F do you know my mom?" or whatever, that told me like, okay, he was in protection mode. But then when you see so much confusion on his face and just like being speechless and all that.
Because he was hitting him with facts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So many
just straight
things that
facts.
triggers.
And then it's like when Teresi said, "I have a thing for redheads," so does Tommy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it was
And
all
a dancer she was a dancer down in Atlantic City, and he knew that his mom had been a dancer. Like,
Yeah.
the story matched up.
Yeah.
Because she told him most of the truth, right? So the story's matching up for him.
So, what I did like about this is everyone has been seeing this storyline about Teresi and Tommy, and that's really easy for Power, and that's kind of unacceptable for me for us to figure out something that we've known literally probably since episode 2. That's not Power like for us to be able to figure something out so far ahead.
Yeah, but you don't know how it's going to play out.
I hope it plays out good.
Mob ties.
Anything else on Teresi and okay, so the last topic that we're gonna try and brush through is Angela, Donovan, Cooper, Max, Sandoval. So you got Mike Sandoval who's trying to put the blame on on Donovan, and then Angela goes to Donovan, and then he gives her the evidence, and so they see that Sandoval is walking upstairs as Donovan is going to shut the club down. So now it's alleged that Cooper, Angela, and Donovan now know that Sandoval is probably the mole, while you have Sandoval and Mac, who I sometimes wonder if they're working together, because I felt like that was a clue when he says, "Oh, well, I'm going to talk to Donovan." And so for me, that was like a clue saying, go kill him. So I wonder if the two of them are in it together. But what's your take on the FBI force, the task force?
I love that Cooper was salting out, went to Angela to salt out
I love that scene, yeah.
Donovan, and she just opened the door back, and he's right there.
Oh my
so.
God, I know, I love him. Shane, who plays Sax.
He was just here.
He
last
is
week.
hilarious. I was like, he just
His
does
He's so
delivery
funny.
and
I
timing.
love his comedic timing.
And that's the second time we've had a moment like that with Donovan, too, also. With
yes,
him as well.
yes.
Like where he walks in, he's like,
When he walks in,
"Oh."
he's like mumbling under his breath. He's like,
Yeah.
So that was really great. But okay, Mike Sandoval, you trying to get a little bit bold and buck again, trying to go and take out Donovan. How bossy was that? But I think he's getting in over his head, and he's a little bit fearful that it's getting too close to him. So he's just trying to take out he knows something. I don't know. Sandoval either knows something
Well, we
or
don't
he's
know who
just,
the real Sandoval is. Isn't
That's still
Sandoval's been in over his head for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
But now we're really, I think we know that, and we've been feeling that as an audience. But now to see things like you're not really a killer, but you're outright like walking in the hallway with a gun in your hand.
He is a killer, though. I mean, it was revealed that, like back with Lobos, when he was first in with Lobos, the thing that Lobos had on him is that they took out that agent that was having an affair with his wife, right? So he became complicit way back then, and so we know that he's killed and he's allowed killing. So he wants to convince himself that he's a good guy that's just got.
And I think that's
in.
more it. I think he's convinced the
He
audience
sat there and
that.
let James St. Patrick.
Totally.
He pointed the finger and helped him get convicted
100%
for the murder that he did.
Yeah.
So
I think that he's just
gone.
convinced us that he is. I mean, we've seen some of the behind the scenes, of course, like his dirt. You know what I mean? But as far as like a killer, it doesn't seem like it's in his. Even though there's a backstory, it doesn't.
Greg.
Yeah.
Poor sweet
I know,
Greg.
out of all people, it's like Greg, but it's like that was the first
Greg
person that we
needed to
actually
go.
saw him kill. We've heard some backstories, but we didn't see him actually physically take somebody out until Greg. And so now to see him try to do that with Donovan was like, dang, you really trying to, up your count. It was just kind of crazy. So I'm glad that didn't happen though.
And so anything else before, I know you guys say wrap, but if you can just give me 5 minutes, because I have to just ask a couple questions to
Go ahead,
the
you're
producer
good.
and actors. Okay, so first of all, your resume of some of the things that you did, I feel is just great. You were an executive producer on Unforgettable, that show I liked. And so how did you transition from some of the other shows, from like 90210 and Unforgettable, to doing Power?
Well, I started off, the first TV show as a producer on was Monk. I kind of worked my way up there. I was there for 7 years, and that was an amazing learning ground, and I had some fantastic mentors there. And then I went on to the second season of Monk when it came in there. And then the first season of 90210, I will just say it was a challenge for them. And so they wanted to revamp it for season 2. And so I came on for the all-new revamping of that. And then that was with CBS executives. And so then when they did the same thing with Unforgettable, it was one show the first season. And they're like, wait, we're going to remake this as a Blue Skies summer show. So the execs, I had the same execs from 90210. They said, will you come help us? We're going to go revamp Unforgettable. And so then I was in the unique position of somebody who's been a producer in LA and New York. This is another show that, bridges the two. Courtney had worked at CBS, our showrunner. She'd been on The Good Wife. And so I think, we knew of each other from that and had good stuff. And then also I joined this show after it had aired. So I watched, I binge watched the whole first season. And I was like, what is this show? I love it. Like, please let me work on this show. It's so fantastic. So just like all things, it's like one thing leads to the next, and just show, my motto is always like, I will show up. I will work. Nobody will work harder. Nobody will work longer hours.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, whatever it takes to get the job done. And we all kind of, like-minded people come together, and that with the same work ethics, and be nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Play nice.
And
Work
then-
hard. Play nice.
And then Matt,
It's a short answer.
you came from daytime. You were on Days of Our Lives
Yes,
for many years.
years
That was
ago.
my favorite.
That was your favorite? Oh, yeah.
That's right. I haven't
Mine
watched it
too
in a very long
college.
time, but high school for me.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
How did you get involved with Power and the casting, and how did you transition from auditioning, getting the role as a reoccurring, and now, I guess I can
Series
say
regular.
next season you'll be a series regular, so that means he's alive.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Actually, that
So
news
far.
was for
This
season
season.
4.
Yeah, he
That
became a
was
series regular during season 4.
In season
Oh,
4, I was
nice.
actually a series
Congratulations.
regular.
But
There you go.
Julio's dead, so you're gonna
We
make
can't.
it.
We don't know
You
what's
have
gonna
to
happen on
stay.
season 5. We're
You're-
like, he
you're
was a
coming
regular
back
in
season
season
5,
4,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
We're claiming it for you.
Yeah.
It was actually a good story with Power because it was not the traditional route. I had actually auditioned for Sandoval's role, and it was a self-tape at home in my suit, and tie without an accent. And obviously I didn't get it. And then I had found out like a month later that they wanted me to come in and guest star for a role, and they didn't really say much about the role, and they're very tight with their scripts, like extremely tight. So I didn't read really the character until I was flying on the plane, and then learned that he was a Dominican character, and that he was, you know, Cristobal from the gang from the Tainos, and that's when I started watching, like, you know, season 1, and I fell in love like Shana did, and it was great, and I had fun with the character. Thankfully, they had great dialect coaches, you know, on set to kind of help with the Dominican aspect of it, because I'm Cuban, and there's like, you know, a lot of differences. And based on that, they just kind of asked for, you know, a recur, and then last season, Courtney called me in and said that she wanted to chat about maybe increasing the storyline with the character, and it was unlike any experience that I've had before with executives. I expected to go in and, you know, see like a bunch of suits and then, you know what I mean, have a formal interview. But I don't know how much time we got, but it was just Courtney, and she and I got to know each other, and you've had her on the show, right?
Yeah.
She was like she was on the show. She's just very open and down to earth and connected, and is very insightful and intuitive, and shared a lot, and, you know, it was a great experience. And then after they had, you know, bumped me up to series regular, it was pretty cool.
Did you work with Carmen for your?
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, Carmen and Candido.
Yeah, we've got 2 fantastic dialect coaches that work because, as he said, you know, we've got Mexican, Dominican, Cuban, you know, and
Puerto Rican,
and
all the cans.
And it's the same
all
thing for Angela, because she's, you know, Leela is, her family's from Mexico in real life, so her Spanish she would do with the more Mexican accent. That's where her mom is from.
Okay.
And so, but she's playing Puerto Rican, so she has to do a different accent.
Wow. Wow.
For the Spanish. And so we work really hard on all those things, and it's like, you know, 80% of our audience may not notice, but we try to really work, you know, hard to keep it real.
A very quick question, if you can answer maybe 30 seconds or less, because we've heard that before. Someone comes in and auditions for one part, but then a month or so later, you are brought in for another role. How much of that actually happens? Do you guys really pay attention to all of the people who come in cast?
Absolutely.
You're like, okay, maybe not now, but you keep them in the back of your mind.
Again, on the shows that I've been on, it's happened multiple times, because you can fall in love with an actor in an audition and say, man, they're not right for this, but I love them. We've got to find something for them. And then you can have, you know, a great showrunner like Courtney end up writing and creating a character for that person.
Very nice.
You
For
know?
her to make that leap with my character was huge, because my background, you know, I had a lot of soap, I had a lot of clean stuff. So to get the tats in, you know, be the drug dealing gangster was a leap for her to take, and insightful.
But that's what
Which I
Courtney
give a
likes to
lot
do.
of- yeah.
Like, she doesn't like to cast people in roles and ways that they've done things before.
Yes.
She likes to show everybody in a new light.
Nice.
And go again, you know, if it's anybody that we're familiar with, it's like, okay, well, we've never seen them do it just like this.
Yes.
Right.
So
And she
Another
can see
reason
that,
we
like
love Power.
she's insightful. She can kind of see that,
Yeah.
and, you know, I took
That's
my hat
dope.
off, and I was like, man, I really respect that. You know, thank you very much for that opportunity.
Yeah, we take our hat off to Courtney as well. I mean, Courtney is really, really, my goodness. I mean, you all know. She's really amazing. She's
Yeah.
got a lot of insight, like you said, in many different levels.
So as we wrap, any final thoughts, predictions, anything that you can tell us besides how you can be followed on social media? I have to ask. I mean, what can you give us something?
Oh, something.
Please.
Oh
Something
my God. Okay.
As we wrap.
There's so many more people that are gonna die.
The cat is out the bag.
You have not
That
seen
is something
Power's
we did
last
not
death.
know.
You have not seen this season's last death.
Okay.
We've got some big exciting twists and turns coming up, and I think, and one thing I can say very truthfully is that I honestly believe that our finale is the most powerful episode of Power yet. It is
Wow.
by far my favorite episode that we have done.
Wow.
And I loved 6 so much.
Seven
Like
deaths.
when we did 6, it wasn't just the the
Yeah.
deaths, but I mean the storylines, the drama, and just everything, how it all paid off. You know, I loved 6 so much. So 6 was my favorite, and then we got to the finale. I'm like, okay, this is my new favorite. So, and I love them all, and it's all part of the story. But I can't wait to see what
I'm
the fans
excited.
say
Oh my
after
God.
the finale.
Oh my
You're
God.
gonna die.
Definitely.
Matt, tell us something.
What she said.
Good answer.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much,
Okay.
you know, to really tip, but it does get very interesting, and I'm excited to see where it goes, both as a castmate and as a fan of the show. It's
Definitely.
Okay, we'll give you guys a social media. I tried. Let everyone know where you can be found on social media.
Oh, I'm at Shana Stein Moranville on Instagram and at Shana Stein on Twitter.
Yeah, both my Twitter and Insta are the same, and it's Matt Cedeno, and that's Cedeno like jalapeno.
I like Matt.
You guys can find me on all of your social media platforms at Robin Ayers.
And you can follow me everywhere at Stiletto Jill.
It's your man Jimmy V at Be Your Own Dad.
And you can follow me.
Yeah.
And you can follow me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen. Well, damn, wow, this has been
this was a
so
good one.
fun. This is a good one. Thank you guys
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you to
Thank
Shana.
you.
Thank you to Matt.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your support of the show. It really means a lot. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a great show.
Yeah, it's the best on TV.
The best on
so,
TV.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you guys for watching. There we have a lot more, so make sure you guys stay tuned because we have more guests and we'll be here and we're gonna keep recapping and doing what we do. So thank you guys so much.
Thumbs up on YouTube. See ya.
5 stars on iTunes.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.